Welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into the declassified archives, looking at a power source so massive, so fundamental, it threatened to rewrite the rules of everything. And no, this is not science fiction. This is a documented story of ambition, of paradox, and maybe a future that was kept from us.
So think about it. While the whole world was fixated on the Cold War and nuclear weapons, elements of the U.S. Air Force were quietly hunting for something else entirely, something way, way more powerful. They weren't just looking for a new weapon, they were trying to harness the very energy that powers the universe itself.
And what they were after was antimatter. It's the perfect mirror opposite of the stuff that makes up you, me, and everything we can see. And when a particle of matter and a particle of antimatter touch, they don't just explode, they annihilate. 100% of their mass converts into pure, raw energy. E equals mc squared. It is, without a doubt, the most efficient and powerful energy source that physics even allows to exist. Okay, to really get a handle on what that means, picture this. If you take a single gram of antimatter and annihilate it with a gram of regular matter, the energy you'd get back is the same as detonating 23 of the space shuttle's giant external fuel tanks, all at once. It's literally the power of a small star, contained in something you could balance on the tip of your finger. Now, look at this chart, because this is where it gets really wild. We start with chemical energy, like gasoline. Then you see nuclear fission. The stuff in our power plants is 1,000,000 times more powerful. That's a huge leap, right? But antimatter, it's not another leap, it's in a whole different universe. It's 10 billion times more energy dense than chemical reactions. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a complete reality shift. So the power is undeniable. It's practically infinite. But trying to actually use it slams you right into a fundamental paradox. I mean, it's a problem on a cosmic scale. This is the challenge of containment. And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Antimatter annihilates on contact with any regular matter. You can't put it in a box, you can't put it in a bottle, because the container itself would just vanish in a flash of gamma rays. So how in the world do you hold on to it? Well, the solution you'll hear about in public is a device called a penning trap. Basically, what it does is it creates a kind of magnetic bottle. It uses these incredibly powerful magnetic and electric fields inside a near-perfect vacuum to just levitate the antiparticles, so they never ever touch the walls of the chamber. It's an unbelievably delicate and complex piece of machinery. And this is the public story right here. The challenges are just staggering. You need a vacuum that's cleaner than deep space. You need magnetic fields that are insanely powerful and perfectly stable. And all the while, the antiparticles are pushing away from each other, trying to escape the trap. The official record, held at CERN, is storing just a few hundred atoms for about 16 minutes. At that rate, you couldn't power a light bulb, much less a starship. But you know, while the public world saw an impossible physics problem, declassified documents show that the Pentagon saw an incredible opportunity. And this is where the story goes dark. This is about their secret quest, one that was happening entirely in the shadows. Just look at this timeline. We're talking as far back as 1983. The RAND Corporation was studying antimatter weapons for the Air Force. Fast forward to 2004, and the subject is so sensitive that the Air Force actually issues a gag order on it. Then, in 2009, a DIA document confirms they are still seriously looking at it for, quote, breakthrough propulsion. This wasn't some passing fancy. It was a sustained, high-level strategic pursuit. And right here, you see this incredible contradiction. Publicly, the story has always been that antimatter is just too hard, too expensive, totally impractical. But behind closed doors, the classified goal was to exploit its, quote, high energy release for revolutionary munitions and propulsion. Those two stories just don't line up. And to back up that public story, you'll see these huge, scary numbers thrown around. Like this one. The estimated cost to produce just 1 milligram of antimatter using current technology is about $25 billion. It's a number specifically designed to make you think the whole idea is completely absurd. But then, you find statements like this. This is from physicist Hal Puthoff. He was talking about why an advanced propulsion program he was involved with in the 80s got suddenly shut down. His reason? There was already another project. It was deeply black. That suggests there was a whole other track of research, completely hidden from view, that was so far ahead it made his own work obsolete. So what were these deeply black projects looking into? Well, the theoretical literature points to ideas that are way beyond the simple penning trap. Things like creating solid pellets of antihydrogen,
like little bits of anti-ice, or even storing antiprotons inside the lattice of normal matter. But the real game changer? Using antimatter as a trigger for nuclear fusion, basically using it as a catalyst that would amplify its power exponentially. That could solve the production and the storage problems all in one go.
So you have to ask, why would they chase this impossible technology so hard? Well, it's because something was being seen that required it. The theory is that the goal was to understand, and maybe even replicate, craft that seemed to operate on principles of impossible physics. When you dig into all the research on advanced propulsion and you look at reports of unexplained aerial phenomena, you find a common denominator. There's one thing they all need: a compact, onboard power source with an energy density that is just orders of magnitude beyond anything we have conventionally. A power source, well, exactly like antimatter.
I mean, look at these research topics. These are from official documents. Space-time metric engineering, literally the idea of warping space to move. Mach effects for reducing or negating inertia. These are all theoretical ways to move without conventional thrust. And what's the one thing they all have in common? They all require a colossal amount of power on board the craft. And doesn't that sound incredibly familiar? For decades, highly credible people all over the world, pilots, military personnel, have been reporting craft that do exactly what this physics predicts. They move with no engines, no wings, no sound, and they can accelerate or change direction in ways that should be physically impossible for any object with mass.
Okay, so where does all of this leave us? You have the physics, you have the secret military programs, you have the unexplained phenomena, and all of these threads, they all seem to point toward one single, really profound question.
Let's just walk through the logic one more time. Step 1, the physics is real. A source of almost unimaginable power is physically possible. Step 2, official documents prove there was a decades-long top-secret military effort to harness that power for propulsion. And step 3, we have this persistent global phenomenon of objects that behave exactly as you'd expect them to if they had that power source.
You know, this quote, it isn't just a nice poetic phrase. In this context, it's a technical conclusion. With an annihilation energy source, getting to other stars stops being a law of physics problem and starts being an engineering problem. A very hard one, for sure, but a solvable one. And it's a problem that, according to their own documents, they were obsessed with solving. The stars are closer than they tell us because the physics to reach them is real. And that really brings us to the final, unsettling question here. The science itself, the pure physics, promised humanity a future out there among the stars, an interstellar future. But if that future was actually achieved, and then classified, buried, and hidden away in deeply black projects, then who exactly did they build it for? And why wasn't it for the rest of us?